Hello and good evening and welcome to another edition of M-Town Tonight right here in Memphis, Tennessee. I am your host, Mr. Darney, and I'm always coming to you with helpful and insightful information that can help you be a better person and help be a better person for those around you. Pardon me for getting off to a late start tonight. Did a little late night barbecuing for my family, and that is the reason why I'm kind of dressed down a little bit. I usually try to have a little bit more professional attire, if you will, on while I'm doing these videos, but at the same time, that doesn't take away from the message that I try to bring to the people. Happy belated Mother's Day to those mothers that are out there, and happy up and coming Father's Day to those fathers that are all around the city and around the world doing the very best they can to provide the type of lifestyle that their child needs or children needs to be successful in this world. So once again, happy up and coming Father's Day, happy belated Mother's Day. Tonight we're going to kick back and just relax a little bit and kind of talk about some things that I've been getting in my email. A lot of people have been responding to my anxiety and depression video that I uploaded a few weeks back, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback on that. A lot of feedback such as thank you for the helpful information, or thank you for letting me know that I was not the only one that was or has been suffering from anxiety or depression, or as well thank you for giving insight to try to help me get over anxiety and depression and put myself in a position mentally where I can move forward, forgive myself, forgive those around me that I feel have wronged me, so that I can move forward in a positive manner. So we'll be basically talking about those type of things tonight, just different things that people have commented on regarding my videos. Now, what I always like to do in my videos, I try to anyway, is to take what I call the sting off the day. All of us get up every day trying to be a better person than they were yesterday, I would assume. And when I get off in the evening time from a hard day's work of whatever I'm doing, whether it's for the company or my family or whatever it may be, when I come in, I like to unwind with a nice, small, but very, very potent glass of a cocktail. And this evening's cocktail is really basically Smirnoff vodka with a little orange juice, better known as a Greyhound. So this is to the day, the prosperity of the day, my ability to live through the day, and your ability to be here with me as well. So cheers to you and those with you. Great. Excuse me. All right. The first email that I got, just for basically for privacy purposes, I'll never reveal the name of the individual that sent the email, or individuals that send me emails. That's a part of my confidentiality that I feel that I should have to anyone that sends me an email. Whether it's positive or negative, I read them all. I may not respond to them all, but I do read them, and if I think it's something that's worthwhile to share with others, I will do so in the next segment following the email that you sent me. So in other words, if you send an email tonight to mtowntonight@gmail.com, I will read your email, and I will, if I feel that your comment is something that needs to be shared, or you're asking a question that I think would be helpful to others that are viewing these videos, I'll be more than happy to share that information, and hopefully it could benefit someone else. The first of three emails that I want to talk about. Number one, someone asked me, what made me want to start doing this type of work? What made me want to reach out and give the type of information to people that's helpful? Well, first of all, thank you for that email. And second of all, I appreciate you taking the time to look at my videos. Feel free to look at them and comment as many times as you wish by email, and I'd be more than happy to try to respond back to you. To answer your question, I myself have been through some things. Let me move my mic here. I don't know if you can see it. I myself have been through things, some heartbreaking things, some things that some people would regard as being life-threatening or life-changing. And I went through my growing pains of learning how to deal with anxiety and depression. And I tried all different types of ways of dealing with it. At one particular time, I thought that it would be good for me to talk to a psychiatrist. I talked with doctors that told me that there's a possibility that I may have some form of chemical imbalance in my head, which made me have these type of anxiety feelings and so forth. But I really learned about anxiety and depression, believe it or not, by a gentleman that was working on my car. And we were talking about some things, and I think I spoke on this in that particular video. But what I said is that when I was talking to this gentleman and I explained different things that I was going through, what that man shared with me was golden. And what he said to me is that if there's something that you're worrying yourself about and you have absolutely no control over its outcome, then it's pretty safe to say that you're wasting your energy and you're wasting your time. If it's something that you can't control, you do the best you can to try to live with it and deal with it as best you can and try to get the best outcome of the situation, or see if you can have the best outcome. If it's something that you can control, take the time to sit back, assess yourself, assess the situation, and try to figure out a strategic way of dealing with it. And one thing about dealing with things in life is that you have to be realistic with yourself and your expectations. And we as human beings sometimes have low expectations of ourselves based on our circumstances, and we can't do that. We can't let our circumstances dictate how we feel. If we do that, that sets the stages. That is the garden from which anxiety and depression grows. When you get off into self-pity and feeling sorry for yourself and different things, not being able to forgive yourself for mistakes that you've made in the past. So a gentleman working on my car had the insight to tell me that all you need to do, all most people need to do, is to stop blaming themselves or continuously blaming themselves and find a way to see the other side of the coin. It's hard to do sometimes, but for the most part, for your growth and development and for your healing process, that is necessary. So that is the reason why I started doing these videos, because I felt, number one, someone helped me. Someone gave me some information, some simple information that I took, analyzed it, and followed it, and was able to achieve my goal of being able to step away from the negativity of anxiety and depression by self-analyzation and being able to realize that, hey, I'm a human being, I make mistakes, but some mistakes don't have to be made. You have to think things through. You have to put yourself in the mindset of thinking about progressing forward and doing things to help you progress forward, making right and good decisions and making the best decisions. So that was the reason that made, one of the reasons, or I should say the main reason why I started doing these videos. We have to understand that we are a people of emotion and feeling. We're human beings. We have all types of emotional feelings about things, about places, about persons, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you get to a point where your emotions are basically dictating how you think, it's not a good thing to do. You have to sit back and take a breath, realize, analyze, and mobilize yourself mentally and physically to move forward. You know, I've been sitting back, and for the past few weeks or so, or really quite frankly ever since we've had a new president, I've been sitting back and just watching all of this stuff and everybody's getting in all types of uproar about the actions of our president, what he's doing, what he's saying. Well, the thing about that is that those things don't directly affect you or me. In the bigger picture of things, there may come a situation where, if it's regarding policy, that it may affect you. But for the most part, what he does or says directly does not affect you. And people are just getting in an uproar and all upset about what he's doing, what he's saying. And I quite frankly think it's some of the most funniest shit I've ever seen. It's one of the biggest and best reality shows that I think is on TV. And I use it as a form of outlet. When I come home sometimes, it is a part of my makeup to come home, watch the news, not just the local news, but world news, and see what's going on, what type of information that I can get from the news that I can bring to the people, for those that don't watch the world news, or for those that don't really have a big interest in watching a lot of news. I try to bring those tidbits of information available to you, so that would be something that maybe if it can help you, you can move forward, or just for humoristic purposes, just to humor you or to make you laugh and smile. We all need to laugh and smile on a regular basis, and there's always a reason to laugh and smile. You just have to find it. The second email was pertaining to my ability to really just sit back and just talk to people and just be open about myself and open about things I've been through. I think the question was formatted as, how can you be so open with everybody? Aren't you afraid that people would know about your particular flaws and so forth? No, I'm not afraid of that. Because as I say, I keep myself humbled to the degree to where I know that I'm a human being, and that there are other human beings around me, and that we all have a lot in common, despite the fact of many outlets trying to bring to light our differences for the purposes of using those against us. We have so many things in common as human beings. If we would just look at those things and appreciate them, we could get along with each other a whole lot better. So it's not hard for me to sit here and talk to you, communicate with you, and be open with you about things that I'm thinking about, things that I've been through, because I feel that if that information is shared with some people, whomever it may be, if you can get something out of the information that I've shared with you, whether it be personal information about me, personal things I've gone through, or even things that I've seen other people experience that I've learned from, by all means use it. By all means use it. That's what makes a failure not a failure. When you go through things in life and you can find the silver lining despite how bad it may be, and you can still find the silver lining to show yourself that it can be and will be okay, that's a beautiful thing. That's a great thing to do. And it's never been a problem for me to get in front of people, to stand in front of people, do videos or what have you, to help people become better and do better through my experiences, whether they be personal or whether they're experiences that other people that I respect have shared with me. So that's the answer to that question. Thank you for that question in your email. Feel free to send other emails. I love to answer these questions. We've gotten some negative feedback, but that's a part of the business. That's a part of the game. Everybody's not going to feel the vibe that you're feeling. Everybody's not going to have an understanding of what you're trying to do. But as I always say, and I will always feel this way, I don't come to you as if I'm on a pedestal. I don't come to you as if I'm better than you. I come to you as if I am you. I'm a part of you. I'm just like you. And if there's something that I have done or been through in my life, and evidently lived through it, to be able to tell about it, if that information can be helpful to someone else to do the same, by all means, use it. By all means, use it. That's wisdom. True wisdom comes when you can learn from the experiences and mistakes of others so that you may progress without having to go through the same heartaches and pains that they may have gone through. That's wisdom. And there's no age on being able to acquire wisdom. All you have to do is be willing to look, listen, and learn. And the wisdom it'll come to you. It'll come to you. Here in the city, we're going through a lot in the city. We've got a Memphis police shortage, Memphis Police Department shortage. They're short of officers. I think they say in excess of 500 or 600 officers. The current police director feels that this would be the way to get crime curtailed, to keep a tight rein on things. Well, in my professional opinion, having more officers, that may be good to have more boots on the ground, as they say, to be able to respond to things. But if the treatment of our citizens does not get better, regardless of how many officers you have, we still have a crisis. Our officers need to have the proper training that to be able to deal with all people from all walks of life, to be able to have the psychological training that will teach them to not be in such of a position to show aggression or extreme force, and these are things that have to be worked on. It's not something that can be done overnight, but taking the right steps to do so can create the environment where the citizens will actually be able to see, well, hey, they are trying to do better. They are trying to make a difference. You know, we've got a lot of poverty in our city. We've got a lot of blight. That's the word that they use for dilapidated buildings and abandoned houses in our inner cities. And a lot of that comes from property owners, whether they be local property owners here in the city or out of town, just not taking care of the properties. Well, we have to do better than that. We have to do much, much better than that. And I think the city should hold these property owners accountable, in particular of the property owners with respect to property owners that are living out of town. If you have property in our city and you're making a living or making money off of property that's in our city, and you're not keeping the property up, you're not maintaining the property to a standard of living where people will feel comfortable living there and comfortable paying the rent, you shouldn't be able to rent properties in the city. You shouldn't be able to have properties available for rental. We should have a stiff, heavy tax on you, in particular if you're living out of state. If you're taking money from our state by renting property in our city, and you're just nothing more than a slumlord, an absentee slumlord, well, by all means, you should pay for that. And one of the ways, as I say, should either be by paying an increased tax or a tax penalty, or just not having the property at all, having the property seized by the city. Any particular outstanding taxes that are owed on the property, have the property auctioned off and the taxes paid through the auction, and then the new owner can proceed to do something positive and productive with the property. Now, I jumped a little off base with that, but that was something that I wanted to talk about, because that leads me to my third question that was asked through the email. And the question was, how do I feel about the current state of our inner cities? To me, meaning our inner city and our neighborhoods. Well, we know that inner cities are predominantly African American. We know the inner cities are predominantly dealing with people that are of a certain level of income. And one thing about the inner city is that when things are not going well, the first things that are to go in the inner city are the services, such as sweeping, street sweepers, keeping the environment with regards to trees and shrubbery and different things like that, keeping that type of stuff up and maintained to a level of standard that anybody would be happy with. And therefore, from that perspective, you have less jobs in the inner city. People are having a problem finding jobs. People are having a problem getting to and from the jobs that they do have with our public transit system, which in itself needs to be revamped. We've got a lot going on in the inner city. And a lot of it is a lot of red tape and bureaucracy. You can get so many people in a room, the city council and all of these different boards and things that they have. You can get these people in a room. And if we come out of this meeting without solving a problem, then we don't need to come out of the room. We need to stay in bounds, stay in the room, and try to figure some things out. There's so much bureaucracy going on regarding what needs to be done. Well, these people have to talk to these people, and these people have to talk to these people, and these people have to talk to these people. And in the midst of all of that, nothing gets done. A bunch of finger pointing. A bunch of he should have done, she should have done, they should have done, we could have done. And things aren't getting done. And the people, the citizens of our city, are suffering. And our inner cities, where some of our most beautiful people in spirit and in body and mind live, they shouldn't have to live up under those conditions. Now, a lot of these conditions, or some of these conditions, are self-inflicted. We as human beings, and we as people living in the city, have to take more pride in where we live. Making sure that garbage goes in the garbage. Making sure that we're vigilant enough to see in our neighborhoods that when people are not doing what they're supposed to do, or not behaving in the fashion that is accepted by society, such as keeping your area clean, your yard clean, or abandoned cars and different things of that nature. We have to take accountability for that. And that has a lot to do with the blight in our inner city. That's why our inner cities look the way that they do. A lot of the people in the surrounding areas, we have to take accountability for that. And we have to do things to help those things stay in order. And if there's an issue in your neighborhood that you're not satisfied with, if you've got dilapidated buildings and abandoned properties in your building with 6-foot tall grass, don't hesitate to call the city. Put pressure on the city. Call the Public Works Department if you've got refrigerators and all this type of stuff sitting all outside of an apartment building or a house. Call the city. Put pressure on them. Be the citizen that we need. Call the city and let them know, hey, we've got this going on in this particular neighborhood or in this particular street. We need this addressed. And they may not come out the first time after the first call. Put more pressure on them. Call them back. This is how things get done. We have to put pressure on those people that we put in power to do what is right, to do what is necessary, to do what is going to be the best thing for our community. We have to hold these people accountable. So with regards to the question, the inner city is in a terrible state right now. And I feel, professionally and personally, that we have to hold the city accountable by letting them know that we will not tolerate it. You need to, meaning the city, you all need to put pressure on these owners of properties that are not keeping them up to standard. If they're not keeping them up to standard, they shouldn't own them. If they're out of state and they're taking monies through rent payments out of state and not putting back the necessary funds, to be able to revamp the property, keep the property up to standard, to affordable living and acceptable living conditions, they shouldn't own property in our city. Memphis is a beautiful city. Memphis has beautiful people in this city. And we have a wonderful spirit in this city when we come together. When we come together as a city, I argue with anybody that we can't be stopped, that we can't compare to other cities. Our economics may not be the same. We may not have the same high incomes here as some other big cities, but that has nothing to do with the people and the spirit of the city. And we need to come together. We need to come together on other grounds other than atrocities and negativity and bad weather and scandals and all of these different types of things. We've got sports in this town, and sports has a way of rejuvenating people, bringing people together. But even with the sports, we have to understand that we are human beings that have a purpose, and our purpose is to be the better human being or the best human being that you can be to the next human being. I love doing what I do. I love talking to people. I love communicating with people. This is something that I've been wanting to do for years, and I've gotten the opportunity to do it. It's going to get better. So for those of you that are following me now, stick with me. We'll get bigger, we'll get better, we'll get stronger, and we will be bringing all types of information to you, all types of opportunities that we come across, that we hear about to you, news that you don't know about that we feel is important, not biased news, but news that can be helpful and informative. We will be bringing it to you. That's our job. That's what we want to do, and that's what we're going to do. Jumping the script a little bit, I'm pretty sure a lot of you all looked at the game last night, the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the Golden State Warriors, and I just want to touch on this real briefly. The Cleveland Cavaliers, led by LeBron James, blew a terrible lead last night to lose Game 3 and go down 3 games to Golden State. Now, if we all remember from last year, and I'm just going to briefly touch on this. If we all remember remember the same thing happening last year. LeBron and the Cavaliers were down 3 games to 1, and they came back and won the championship. I bring that up to bring this up. MTownTonight.com is all about upliftment and empowerment, bringing a level of awareness to individuals that they can so that they can understand that irregardless of your circumstances, there is a way to get it done. With faith in yourself, faith in your skills, faith in the powers that be, anything can be done. And you have to have that mentality. And it's hard to have that mentality sometimes. It really is. It was something that I just couldn't have at the snap of a finger or the drop of a dime years ago. But the grooming of my mindset came through experiences that of my own and people that were around me that were willing to either share these experiences with me, or I had the fortunate opportunity to see them go through things, come through them, and be able to move forward. Pardon me while I take a drink of my cocktail. It's good to be grown, isn't it? Now, so once again, Cleveland has the opportunity now to defy the odds again, suck it up, move forward, and go on. They can't quit. You just can't quit. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep going. You have to dig down and find that strength that you didn't know you had to make it happen. We all have that skill. We all have that ability. But it's deep down inside of us. And you have to get deep down inside of yourself to find it. But once you find it, it's unlimited. You have to be willing to find it. You have to be willing to look for it. You have to be humble enough with yourself to realize that, hey, I need to dig deeper. I'm not doing everything that I can do. I can do more. I can be more. I can do better. I can be better. So just wanted to touch on that. That 3-0 deficit is something that's going to have to be overcome in order to become the champion once again, to be the reigning, defending champions once again. That's a hill that the Cavaliers are going to have to overcome. And we in life can look at that and use that as an example to say, hey, even when things get down, there's still a chance. There's still an opportunity. And we have to look at it that way and pursue it mentally that way. For those 3 emails, I'd like to say thank you to you. Once again, we get emails all the time. We respond to all emails, or I should say we read all emails, whether positive or negative. And for those negative emails, let me say this to you. Everybody has their opinion. And if you hear something on my videos that you don't agree with, by all means, feel free to communicate that with me. If there's something that you hear that you feel that there is another side to it, or an addition to what you say, what you hear me say, share that with me. I'm not at the point in my life where I can't learn more. I can't be corrected, or I can't be given information to right a wrong thought process that I have. So by all means, share with me. I'd love to hear from you. Doesn't do anything but make me a better person. Doesn't do anything but make my videos better for those people that want to hear and need to hear upliftment and empowering information to make them be better people. And hopefully, the overall objective of this is to put us in a position to be an advocate for people, so when they have nowhere to go, when they have no one that's willing to listen to them, or no one to listen to, they can always tune in here to mtowntonight.com at 11 o'clock on Thursday nights. Now, we will be starting a new segment on Tuesdays called Talking Tuesdays, and that possibly will be hosted by my beloved wife Alicia, or I may do the show myself. But either way it goes, in probably 2 weeks we'll have Talking Tuesdays for you. My daughters have a show. I have 2 daughters by the name of Nene as a nickname, and they'll be having the 2 Nenes, and Nenes will be coming in talking about young people ideas and young people things, what's going on for the summer for young people. We're going to have a lot of stuff. It's a family-oriented show. We're not straying toward any particular religion. We're not straying toward any particular political ideology. We're straight down the middle. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And we don't play games with it. We don't straddle the fence. We call it how we see it. Bottom line. Bottom line. You know, I've been kind of kicked back today. Today is Thursday. And a lot of things have been going on in my personal life. My son graduated from high school. Bless his heart. Congratulations to you, Christian. I've got two 8th graders going to the 9th grade. I've got a 7th grader going to the 8th grade, and I've got a 5th grader going to the 6th grade. That coupled with a beautiful wife that has needs and wants and different things, big time family. So I have to make sure that I'm on my stuff to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But I will always have time to come to you people and talk to you about what's going on and how we can do better. Now, you know, I've been kind of laid back, sitting back thinking about different things, and we've got a situation going on in the world right now where we've got terrorist acts taking place, and a lot of people are feeling uneasy. I can understand that. Sometimes it's better to bag up from the world, if you will, to put things on hold, to sit back and think about you and your immediate family and what can be best done to serve them. And once you get that hold in place, then you can move forward and try to accept the world for what it is. And some of us just don't want to do that. Some of us live and look through rose-colored glasses, and life doesn't operate that way. We have to be stronger than that and realize that it is what it is, and we have to do better for ourselves to change the outcome, to have the type of success that we want in whatever endeavors we choose to get up on. Now, you know, mtowntonight.com was a baby of mine that I came up with, and as I've been looking around the web, YouTube included, we have a lot of people out there that are trying to give or giving upliftment and positive, helpful information. It's a big world out here. We've got plenty of people that want to help other people do better. That's the objective and the goal of M-Town Tonight. I had the pleasure today of talking back again with whom I classify as a good acquaintance, if you will, and that's the Honorable Judge Joe Brown. And I spoke with Judge Brown today, and I talked with him, and he advised me that if there's any assistance that he may need with the show, feel free to call him and let him know. So we're going to hold Judge Joe Brown to that. So we're working on actually trying to get Judge Joe Brown either by phone or an actual visit here to my lovely home to come and sit down and talk with us and kind of shed some light on some things. I talked with him briefly about his election run going toward the DA's office, and he had some interesting things to tell me about that, some things that I quite frankly think he needs to explain and can explain a hell of a lot better than I can. He's a brilliant man, despite your personal opinion about him. He's a legal mind that needs to be plucked because he knows the law. He's a judge, so he has a very big understanding and interpretation of the law. And he's going to call it the way he sees it. He doesn't show favoritism. He doesn't pull any punches. And regardless of what you feel about him personally, as a professional, he's one of the best. So I feel privileged to be able to have the opportunity to possibly have him on my show. Actually, the first, probably, we've got some other things in store, but if those things don't pan out before this will be my opportunity to have my first actual physical guest, and a well-known guest, I might add at that. So we're working hard on that. And I think that's something that we could bring to the table that's really going to be helpful to other people, because he can shed some information on some things that's going on in the city that can be helpful, and particularly to brothers out here, to men out here, African brothers, African men, black men of color. There is a legal system set up that is designed to put you in a box, or to help assist you in putting yourself in a box. And Judge Brown has some insight that can help you get yourself in a position to where you don't have to concern yourself with that box. We've got to be willing to listen, though. Let's not listen to all of the rhetoric and all of the hoopla and all of the bull crap that comes along with that. Let's listen to the man. This man was a serving judge at one particular time over the James Earl Ray case with regards to the firing of the gun and different things, and he's got a lot of insight. So it would be good for us and helpful, I think, for us to listen to him and hear what he has to say and his insight on some things. Pardon me 1 second here. All right, all right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put ourselves in a position to where we're trying to go live. I would like to go live. I would love to go live. The objective is for us to go live. But one thing about going live that I'm not too happy about is that when you have phone calls and those people that are not willing to be respectful of the airwaves, there is a way of communicating without using profanity. I use very little to none when I'm communicating because it's not necessary. You may get a damn from me, you may get an ass out of me, you may get a hell out of me, but you won't get any MFs, you won't get any Fs, anything of that nature. I don't have to speak that way to get my point across. I don't have to speak that way to emphasize a point that I'm trying to make. So when we do decide to go live, that type of language is not going to be tolerated whatsoever. And if that's the way that you have, no matter what we're talking about, if that's the way that you have to communicate your information, please do not call me. I'm telling you in advance, do not call me. I already have people sending me emails with all type of four-letter words, and I just sit back and I look at them and I'm like, wow, I look at the email, you actually took time to write that. That's what you wrote. I won't even dignify and respond to it. So if you're sending negative emails, I'll read them, of course, and I'll actually read them with understanding to see where you're coming from. But if it doesn't make sense to me, or more importantly, if it's just a bunch of gibberish, you're just trying to see if I'm willing to respond to you on air, trust me, I won't give you the satisfaction, because that's not what this platform is all about. This platform is about helping people help themselves. We are all in this together, whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not. And considering the fact that we're all in it together, there's only one way for us to make it, and that's to work together. And that's my objective, to help us work together. People of all colors, people from all walks of life, people from all backgrounds, from all income brackets, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have to work together. Negativity, atrocities, disasters should not be the only thing or the one thing that brings us together as a people. It shouldn't be that way. And if I have anything to do with it, it's not going to be that way. I'll always be able to put myself in a position to where I'm going to try to do what I can to help people. We've got a lot of things going on in M-Town Tonight. We've got merchandise that's for sale. So if you want a M-Town Tonight t-shirt, we've got those t-shirts on order. Those t-shirts, I think in one of my videos I had the t-shirt on. It basically has my wonderful mic here as the logo, and it's a pretty nice shirt. We've got mugs that are going to be available as well. We'll actually have ink pens. Be a part of the M-Town Tonight movement, and when these items become available, we'll be giving some away as well to the best email question, and we'll be actually giving some away just as a random, just being nice people, just being nice guys. Once we get the phone lines going, if you're the 10th caller, 9th caller, whatever caller we choose, you will win one of our M-Town Tonight t-shirts, mugs, ink pens, or whatever other stationaries we choose to put together. But we're creating a movement here, and the movement is for the uplifting of our people, the uplifting of all people. All people. I'm an African American male. I deeply care about what happens to African Americans, no question about it. I have a strong love for African Americans, no question about it. But that does not take away from the respect and love that I have for other people on this planet. I am a human being first and foremost. First and foremost. And I feel the pain of other human beings, regardless of your color. I feel your pain. When I see you go through things, it hurts me. And I do everything that I can to try to make sure that people can come out of these type of bad situations by giving information that's helpful. So I want to say thank you all for tuning in to me tonight. Feel free to communicate with me once again, mtowntonight.com, www.mtowntonight.com, excuse me. Also, you can email me at mtowntonight@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to once again read your email and respond to your email if at all possible. And as I said, if it's that special type of question, I will feature it along with 2 others. I'll do 3 emails a night or every video for Thursday night. And if it's a special question, if it's something that's helpful to everyone, I'll be more than happy to share that information, share that question, and relay the answer on the air. So this is your man, Mr. Darnay, saying be blessed, be safe, be productive, help someone, help themselves. Tune in to us next week. Talk to you then.